What is up? I am back again. I am currently driving home. I just finished my work day. Yesterday I uploaded a video. It was a Bumblebee movie review. It was pretty awesome. I forgot to mention something in there, so I'm going to mention it in the beginning of this video, and I'm going to mention it in the ending of this video. I'm coming out with a new book series. It's going to be called The Science of Superheroes, and I'm going to go through the science of each Justice League member and each Avengers team member. And I'm going to start with Superman. It's going to be called The Science of Superman. And I'm just going to divulge and indulge myself a little bit and dive into how the science of a superhero might work and how you could actually create a real-life superhuman being such as that of Superman, or akin to him, I should say. It's gonna be a really fun series. I cannot wait. Right now I'm currently working on the Superman novel, the Science of Superman novel, how it could work in real life and whatnot, and how I think it would work in real life, based off of the technologies that we have in current day, and how we could, use those technologies later on to create something like that. And I am very excited for this thing, you guys. I just cannot wait. Like I said, I'm working on it right now, so it's not out yet, but I will update you guys, and I will let you know exactly when it comes out. Like I said, I'm going to continue to try and upload on a daily basis, so I'm going to continue to just film myself ranting. And like I said, this is going to be episode 2 of Rants It, RANTSIT. And today I'm going to be talking about the Aquaman movie, just another brief overview, kind of like what I did with Bumblebee, except I'm going to be making every single one of these kind of the final reviews, just what I automatically think of it. Me personally, for Aquaman, I think it was, once again, a really good movie. I was actually surprised to think that a horror director, a horror film movie director, was able to make such a good superhero movie. And there were elements of horror and things that would be considered scary in the film. Not necessarily frightening, but kind of, the jump scares. And they had the trench, which was a monster-like species of sea dwellers. It was... They're really... That wasn't necessarily freaky to me as much as it was just kind of like, wow, that's interesting. They had a lot of stuff crammed into one movie that was well placed and well used, I should say. The film was jam-packed with awesomeness. It had a really great adventure. It had moments in it that it was just pure genius. You could take a look at some of the shots, and the shots were just wonderful to look at. It was colorful. It was, even in the darkness of the sea, they managed to make it bright and make it look vibrant and alive, which was something that I thought was really well done with how they portrayed the film. And now, before I get started, before I dive too far into the actual story and the way that I think about how the character of Aquaman makes the story work, and how I think that the actual Aquaman movie is a good movie, what I'm going to say is that I really got upset when I heard that Marvel fans and Marvel critics were upset when the octopus was doing the drums for a gladiatorial match. When I heard that some people were getting nitpicky and hard-headed about that, I was amazed to think that they were offended at that. They were offended at an octopus whose sole purpose in the Aquaman movie was being trained by the Atlanteans to drum and to make a drumming beat for a gladiatorial match. In that specific purpose, that is the specific purpose of that octopus in the movie. And that is the specific purpose of the octopus as it was trained to do by the Atlanteans. And then these Marvel critics and these Marvel fanboys are getting pissed off at this movie and thinking that, oh no, that's such a stupid idea. What do you do that for? It's not It's not practical. It doesn't make any sense. And then they'll go and say that something like an ant making drumming beats at the end of Ant-Man as a post-credit scene was brilliant and funny and enjoyable to watch and something that should be cherished by all. And it's so stupid. It really is. It's the worst form of Marvel bias that I've ever seen in a series, that they were willing to go that far as to say that the movie sucked because of that one instance, when the Ant-Man movie had something similar to it and they loved it. So now that I've ranted about that, what I'm going to say is that Aquaman was, like I said, it was a great movie. I would say it's an 8 out of 10, because sometimes the CGI got a little hard to watch. I was a little, the spinning effects and it just, a lot of angles all at once, and it was just, whew, you know, it was kind of crazy, but the story was great, the characters were great. In my opinion, the dialogue made sense. The villain was good. I mean, that villain really worked. And it was a high-stakes movie. One of the things about high stakes is that it wasn't just some crappy, you know, Marvel movie that has something where the stakes are too low, like in Black Panther. Which is, I'll get back to Black Panther and comparing it to Aquaman, but Black Panther had such a low-stakes movie where the bad guy and the good guy had exactly the same abilities, and their suits were completely indestructible, and the only time that you felt like there was any sort of actual stakes was when they were fighting on the train track, but that didn't really necessarily work, in my opinion, because it was a plot hole. You know, they used a vibranium thing to make something that was vibranium weak. It doesn't make any sense to my mind. Now, before people jump on my case for saying that and then comparing the Man of Steel movie, Man of Steel, you still had the fact that they were equal on footing. They didn't have indestructible suits of armor. Zod versus Superman. Superman was still vulnerable, and Zod was still vulnerable when they were fighting. That's one thing that people get wrong, is that they get upset at this. They get upset at the DC universe, and they probably will get upset at me saying that Marvel did that stupidly in Black Panther, because everyone thinks that Black Panther is this wonderful, amazing movie, when, in my opinion, it was such a low-budget, crappy film that, you know, it's not worth watching. I'm not trying to knock on anyone's performances. I mean, actually, I do think that the acting was pretty low budget and pretty terrible. I'm not trying to knock on anyone's ability to perform in the movie. In my opinion, T'Challa was a much better character in both Infinity War and Civil War, when he was a side character. They had the potential to make a really good movie out of Black Panther, but instead it wound up just being this black version of Batman who had an indestructible costume, and there was no stakes at all. Not to mention the bad guy was right, which was it's stupid. And then people say that Killmonger had a good motive, and that he had a good desire, and then his motives were clear and understandable. And in my opinion, that's such a stupid thing to say, because here's Killmonger's plan for you. A black guy killed his daddy, and so he wants to kill all the white people. That's stupid. That's stupid. It's not a good character motive. It's not a good character arc. It's not a good character story. It's not a good story at all. It's a terrible villain. They just looked for an excuse to shoehorn in some social justice warrior propaganda in there, to say that black people are completely oppressed, even though these African American individuals in Wakanda have advanced technology beyond that of any other civilization in the world, and yet they're still saying that yeah, all the black people are oppressed. And it's like, you're stupid. It's stupid. It was a poor excuse for social justice warrior propaganda shoehorn into the movie. It was just, if you can do it subtly, I can almost applaud you, because it was done subtly. But if you do it like that, it's stupid. Now, getting back to Aquaman, people compare the movie to Black Panther. They say that Aquaman is Black Panther through Killmonger's eyes. Now, one thing I have to say is that there are some similarities in there. Yes, he's a half-breed who comes from outside of the kingdom to reclaim the throne. but he was the firstborn. He was supposed to be the king of Atlantis. His motives are actually good. He's trying to stop someone from bringing war to the rest of the world, and he's doing it in a neutral zone. He's doing it in a way that helps everybody. Helps the Atlanteans, helps the surface dwellers, helps everyone, everyone everywhere. It really, in my opinion, it's a much better way of telling the Black Panther story. You know, if Killmonger came in, he was upset at Black Panther because, you know, something similar to what was going on with King Orm, then I could understand that. And then at the end of the film, Black Panther realizes that he was wrong or something like that. I could understand it. I could understand it. But it's not done the right way. The Black Panther movie doesn't do it the right way, whereas the Aquaman movie does it in a brilliant way. I dare say brilliant way. It makes Aquaman, the half-breed character, the outcast, into a hero who's willing to unite two worlds, not throw war at another because he's jealous that someone in his family died. You know? Aquaman makes himself an outcast because his mother died, because Atlantis killed his mother. And in my opinion, that's done well. He makes himself the outcast because he's not part of the he's not a surface dweller, and he's not a sea dweller. He's not an Atlantean. But he does eventually become someone who's able to unite both the surface and sea dwellers due to his standing as being born of both worlds. It's, in my opinion, a brilliant way of creating a character arc, which is something that, like as I said, the Black Panther movie failed to do. The Aquaman movie had great action. It was intense. There was some moments where I thought, this is confusing in my opinion. Like, how did Aquaman get his costume? They didn't actually show that. I wonder if he actually pulled it off of a dead guy and started to wear it. Or if it formed around him like some sort of magical armor, or something along the lines of Barry Allen's Speed Force speedster costume from the comics. But like, the action was pretty amazing. I preferred the on surface, the surface dweller action, where it's kind of more along the lines of him actually fighting with the base under his feet, rather than him being in a gladiatorial match underwater, because the underwater fights kind of confused me at times. King Orm, as I said, was a threatening villain. You had an interesting hero who was just very well done, and you had interesting side characters, a good mentor character, and yeah, as I'm saying, I really appreciate the movie, and I think it's worth a watch for everyone. There's not much more I can say about the movie. That was my overview for it, and I'm gonna go ahead and stop the video here, and I'm gonna say, hope you guys have a good day. I'll see you sometime tomorrow.